right, kids, I got a story for you.
Oh, boy. Kids, do not listen to stories from this man on the internet.
No, I was going to do a Storytime joke, but...
Oh, yeah, okay. I see where you're going with that.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben. This is a friend of ours, another channel that we've chatted with, or a person that we've chatted with, I guess, more than a channel.
Yeah.
But he does some blending, so let's talk a little bit about who we're talking about.
Well, let's get into it and tell them what we have here.
And what do we
We've
have?
got Bam from Jepson's Bourbon, and more importantly from Bam Storytime Distillery, the Port Night Rises. All right, so we have another Storytime Distillery one here. As you mentioned, this is a person we know kind of through chatting in live streams, but just to give a little bit of information, Storytime Distillery is a non-producing distillery, and they're doing some cool barrel picks with different companies, like Jepson's.
Yeah.
And they've done some stuff with Starlight.
Yes.
And so this one happens to be their Port Night Rises. This is a port-finished bourbon. It's 118.32 proof, and I've heard good things, so I'm excited. And we've liked the couple of things we've had from Storytime, very much liked.
Yep, and we previously did a review of the Port Night, which is obviously a play on the whole Batman thing.
Yep, absolutely. So, from what I understand, this is sourced MGP juice that's sourced by Jepson's.
Which they do some blending, and then we think, does it actually go to Storytime where they do the finishing?
That I don't know.
Yeah, so we don't know where it found its way into a port cask, somewhere along the way.
That's fantastic on the nose. That's got just a really nice sweetness and a bite. There's a borderline like a grape, like Big League Chew grape.
Wow.
No, in there.
You know, we've talked about Big League Chew a fair amount. You know what?
It's a little subtle, but it's in there, and I am here for it. I love that.
Wow.
Like that port really comes through.
I'm obviously a fan of bourbon. Have a channel about bourbon.
You don't say.
But if there's a finishing profile that I like a lot, it's port finished.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them, and usually they're pretty good, but
there's so much going on the nose here. I mean, this is really, really bold, flavorful, sweet.
Interesting, like fall notes. Like
I'm with you on that.
The baking, the nutmeg, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's there.
There's a ton going on here. Let's get into the palate and see what happens.
Here we go.
Cheers. Interesting.
So this is why he said it's great.
Yeah, that's really good.
Because it's great. That
has it's got some of the same stuff that carries over from the nose, but it's got a little something different on the palate. I think I need to go in for a second sip. Pinpoint that.
You said a flavor profile that I don't think we've made reference to before. You said grape Big League Chew, which I think is a thing that I don't know if I've ever had. Definitely had the regular Big League Chew a lot. But then I'm also envisioning the grape packet of Kool-Aid. Oh yeah.
Just like the smell of the
dust.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that port finish is kind of manifesting itself in like a fruity, and it's reminding me of that candy fruit. You know, like a candy flavored grape, which I just went to the Big League Chew because that's the first thing I thought of. And 118 proof, this drink's pretty easy.
That sip, I got a little bit more of the kick.
Yeah, this has got, so on the palate, it's got all those sweetnesses again. There's something a little darker on the palate.
And it
which
has
is interesting.
Interesting spice that really kicks it up a notch.
There's something there. It's like a sweet note that I'm having a terrible time trying to put my finger on.
I'll say.
Yeah, but it's really good. I mean, it's well-rounded. There's kind of all this sweetness wrapped up together, kind of some classic bourbon notes, and then, yeah, that kind of grapey flavor, fruity flavor wrapped around it, and then there's just like a nice kind of oak burn on the back.
What about the flavor of the product invented by bees called honey?
Okay, are you getting some honey on there? Is that what's happening?
There's a little bit of a flavor of a honey kind of note. It's real subtle.
Okay, now that you mention it, I'm with you. Yeah, this is really good. So here's how you can get these. We probably should have mentioned this at the beginning,
well,
but we
okay.
have mentioned it in our previous live streams and other videos. But if you're interested in these, Storytime is a subscription kind of distillery online.
It's an online club.
It's either $100 for the year or it's $10 for the month.
That actually changed. There's several different packages, including like some that come with like different bourbons. So check the website currently because I think it's different.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that there's different packages of bourbons that you can buy. So this is the third one we've had from them. We've loved all of them.
Yes.
They've all ran about $50 to $65.
I think so. I bought 2 of them, including one that's like bourbon of the millennium.
The cigar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
for
really
$120.
Good. No, that one alone is. Oh, you bought 2 of them for $120.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, in that $60 range.
Yep, absolutely.
And they're great.
And they do some cool stuff. So they've got a cigar blend. They've got the Port Night Rises. They do have the regular Port Night. If we want to go into bonus content mode here, we could bring that out and do a little side by side.
Interested.
And then they have one that I'm really interested in getting that's called Twins.
It's called Gemini.
The Twins?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. And so what that is they got 2 single barrels.
Great idea.
Great idea. 2 individual single barrels that happen to be aged their full maturity process right next to each other. Mm-hmm. So to really be able to take 2 bourbons that were in casks directly, same climate, same everything, but just a different barrel and see what happens. So I mean, that's just a great idea.
It is.
So, all right, well, this has been the Port Night Rises. We are going to continue and get into maybe a little comparison
Bring in the other one.
But now that we've kind of got the review of this out of the way, just consider this bonus content.
Bonus.
All right, let's keep going here.
All right.
Interestingly enough about this one is this Port Night is from Starlight. So these are 2 different distilleries.
Yeah, totally different. Yep.
So that we really shouldn't expect too much to,
And that's 110 proof. This is 118 and change. So they're going to vary a bit, I think.
Yep. You pour just a tad more of this because we all know where this is eventually going. All right, I've got the Port Night Rises on the right.
On the right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the one hand that doesn't make an L for left.
No, it was. I just
Still use that to this day as a grown adult.
I don't know if I've ever. Well, I probably have heard that.
Gonna definitely want to coat the glass. Sometimes the glass smells like the dishwasher.
Yeah, and that can be a real buzzkill.
Ooh. The Port Night Rises definitely has a little extra kick. I will say that. There's a little more going on there.
I'll give this one a minute to kind of acclimatize to the glass.
Here's something that I've learned before we get into this in recent history, meaning very recent history, is that a high proof port finish really works.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that in this review that we're still doing.
But we've had other, high proof port finishes in recent history, And so I just really think that maybe that style of bourbon just really kind of shines at a higher proof.
Yes.
Because we have had some lower proof ones that are like,
I would agree. But I also, one of the concerns I have when you take something and you finish it is, are you taking a bad whiskey and you're trying to save it? Mm-hmm. And same with flavored coffee. Are you taking a bad coffee, putting flavor in to save it? And sometimes the answer is yes. But in the case of Jepson / Storytime and Starlight, because I've already had this one.
Yep.
The answer is no. I mean, these are great. They were great whiskeys, even without
Sourced MGP, I believe.
Yeah, we believe they're MGP initially. MGP knows a little bit about what they're doing.
Yeah. The Starlight one, the Port Night, has a little bit more of a oaky and dusty profile.
getting more of like a corn grain. And I know that corn is sometimes a little bit on the negative side, but like it smells good, but it is dusty and just kind of corn forward.
Yeah, which I actually love that.
You do.
I love a bourbon that really has that kind of dry corn note.
This one's got a million fruit flavors, and I don't say that in a bad way, but it's just a lot going on in the Port Night Rises. This one, I'm gonna try this one.
Shane did mention that he believes the Port Night Rises is the superior one. I'm inclined to agree with him on that. I think the Port Night Rises is definitely better, but they're both really good.
They are.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I wonder if, we've talked before, we did Angel's Envy a little while ago. We recently reviewed Angel's Envy Cask Strength. And we talked about how, at the lower proof, we just didn't really care for it. One thing that I think can happen when you have a wine-finished bourbon, it can actually kind of bring a youthy note to it in a weird way. Yeah, I feel like it does. It brings something that sometimes can be, just in my opinion anyway, makes the bourbon come across a little youthier, a little sometimes musty. You kind of get that old,
I could see
used
artificial,
barrel musty
if you get
sort of.
a little of the grapey note. If that goes the wrong way, sometimes I could see that.
Yeah, and so what I think is maybe at a higher proof, you're getting a little bit more of the flavor out of that versus just the influence, if that makes any sense. You ever had a bourbon where, it's proofed down to a point where actually just the fact that it's proofed down is making it taste weird?
Yeah.
It almost becomes off profile.
Yeah, it's kind of, you've gone too far and you broke it down.
Yeah, and it's not just watered down. It's almost like it brings out a side of the bourbon that just doesn't really hit. And I feel like that can maybe be kind of exacerbated with a finished bourbon. But that's just me. I don't know. That's just my experience.
Or maybe another way to put it is the finishing, like the grape, the port finish, affects certain flavors more than others.
That could be too, yeah. Yeah, it brings different things out. So let's get into the blend here.
Oh, let us be going to blend zone.
So yeah, both of these really good. Both, I think, around that 65 and lower price point, which is awesome. And you get the $10 a month, but you're supporting a new, kind of, I've said startup distillery before.
I don't know how long he's been doing it, but
I mean, just the fact that he's doing cool stuff like this, I mean, that's not an inexpensive undertaking. So a good way to support, the distillery so they don't have to charge
outrageous amounts.
I mean, there's a couple of these ones that we've had now that you could charge $100 for these and compare them to other $100 bourbons, and I think it would easily.
And I think the Friday at Fred's, that's probably gone. I was chatting with him a week ago and he only had like 5 left. But maybe that's not true. But that's $100, $150 category. I mean, it's great.
I would say, oh my God. Yeah, try that. Sorry, interrupted myself there, but holy Hannah, that's a good blend. That may be the best one we've had so far, in my opinion. That just created like a caramel bomb with just a bunch of...
With a little bit of sweet tarts.
Yeah, sweet tarts, like grape sweet tarts.
Grape
It turned from
tarts.
Big League Chew into grape sweet tarts.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It really is.
So hey, Shane, if you have any more of this, you could do a blend bottle. You could call it the Bourbon Note Special.
The Port Night Blends.
Yeah, the Port Night Blends. I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, both of these are really good. Not just because we kind of know Shane. We don't know him personally.
Yeah, we don't.
We just know him from chatting in live streams and stuff. But I would really recommend checking out Storytime Distillery for sure.
If you're looking for another source of interesting bourbons to be the coolest person at your next bourbon party,
that's the other thing.
This
like
is where you find them.
You can get these cool. I mean, you can get Starlight, and essentially they're single barrels or whatever.
And MGP.
But, yeah,
at every local liquor store, and it's great. But this is where the unique stuff comes from.
Yeah, when you pick and select barrels, and then the cigar batch is a cognac finish.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff that they're doing. So yeah, please go check them out. In the meantime, this has been the Port Night Rises from Jepson's Bourbon and from Storytime Distillery. On the Bourbon Note, I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.